Kia ora e te whānau, a iho karaiti ko Andrew Doubleday a hog. Today we're looking at the Gospel text for Sunday the 3rd of April. It's John chapter 12 verses 1 through to 8. 6 days before the Passover, Jesus came to Bethany, the home of Lazarus, whom he'd raised from the dead. There they gave a dinner for him. Martha served, and Lazarus was one of those at the table with him. Mary took a pound of costly perfume made of pure nard, anointed Jesus' feet, and wiped them with her hair. The house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume. But Judas Iscariot, one of his disciples, the one who was about to betray him, said, "Why was this perfume not sold for 300 denarii and the money given to the poor?" He said this not because he cared about the poor, but because he was a thief. He kept the common purse and used to steal what was put into it. Jesus said, "Leave her alone. She bought it so that she might keep it for the day of my burial. You always have the poor with you, but you do not always have me." My favourite sci-fi series is one that you can find on Prime called The Expanse. Towards the end of the series, the central character, his name is James Holden, finds himself in a situation where he's able to take out his arch enemy. And he doesn't. The crew later find out what he did and are outraged that he didn't take the opportunity to take the life of this person who is responsible for the deaths of many millions. But he had his own reasons. There is one member of the crew, however, who sees differently. She's a person who earlier on had made it her life mission to destroy James Holden. Did not succeed. Took out other people along the way and found a path for redemption. But the faces of those that she had killed had continued to haunt her. And she said to Holden, she says, "Never regret not taking someone else's life." And I found that really quite poignant. And you might think, what, Andrew, has science fiction and a silly story got anything to do with the passage that we've read? Well, not killing someone, choosing not to killing someone, even someone who might deserve it, on the flip side of that is this opportunity to be generous. What we see in the story is this still point, this place in the center that everything swirls around, this place that is occupied by Mary. Mary, the sister of Martha and of Lazarus. If you look at the text that we've had, but then stretch back out and look at the text on either side, what you discover is that on both parts, before and after, the religious leaders are plotting to kill Jesus and also Lazarus, because Lazarus has become problematic. This story is not long after the account of Lazarus's restoration to life. He'd been dead for 4 days and he's restored. And the news had got out, and it creates a real problem for the religious leaders. And so they wanted both Jesus and Lazarus to be attended to. And in the middle of this is this dinner. In the middle of this is this place where Martha does what Martha does, and that she's fussing around, I imagine, and making sure that everybody's being well looked after and fed. And Mary is here, and she anoints the feet of Jesus. What she does is she takes this jar, the sealed jar, she breaks it open, we imagine, and she anoints the feet of Jesus with its contents. It's very expensive perfume. We read 300 denarii. That's a year's wages. In our terms, in our context, it may be somewhere between $40,000 and $50,000. This is worth a lot. And she uses it in this moment of extreme generosity to anoint the feet of Jesus. For many of us, it's hard to get our head around, isn't it? Why would anybody do that? Because the reality is that she was not expecting anything in return. One could suggest that she had done this as an act of generosity out of a profound and deep sense of gratitude. I wonder what life might have looked like for her and her sister if Lazarus had stayed dead. If Lazarus was no longer there to be the male in the house, if Lazarus was not able to protect them, if Lazarus was no longer the one who I imagine was the primary breadwinner, who kept them all in food, clothing, and what they needed? Can't say for sure, just imagining that it might have been the case. That there's a profound sense of gratitude for having been rescued from a very uncertain fate. It is also clear that she loved Jesus. She just wanted to bless him. There is no sense in the story that there is any expectation of any quid quo pro. This kind of prosperity idea that if you give this to Jesus, that he'll give you back so much more. Not a bit of it. Not a bit of it. She's not even thinking about those kind of things. In the moment, she is engaged in an act of selfless, generous love of one human being for another. And whereas Martha gives what she can in terms of her service, Mary gives this. It may be that this was Mary's dowry. It may be that this was what might have secured her a good marriage. It's worth a lot. Her bride price. And she sacrifices it. She offers it out of love, out of gratitude, out of appreciation to Jesus for just who Jesus is. There's no sense for her of making an investment in the future. There's no sense for her that she's going to get a handsome return from what she's doing. No, it doesn't appear at all in the story in any sense. She's here and she's operating out of a profound sense of in-the-moment generosity. There's something here for us, isn't there? That as we're invited not to regret not killing anybody, not to regret those moments where we respond to that prompting to be generous, even to someone who may not deserve it, but that desire to bless, to enrich, to make a difference in the life of somebody else without expecting any kind of return. True, in this case, the example is fairly extreme. But there's no sense of judgment upon Mary. She does in the moment what her heart tells her she needs to do, and she responds to the prompting. And I would suspect in the years that follow, there's never a sense of regret. There's never a sense of, I wish I hadn't. There's never a sense of, if only, and I'd used it for. No. She responds out of the fullness of her heart in an act of selfless, loving generosity toward Jesus. Hey, that we all might be able to respond to the promptings that we have that expect no return, expect no quid quo pro, expect nothing back, but simply when we respond to that desire to bless another person. Because it's when that happens that something truly remarkable happens. It's a miracle all on its own. It might appear foolish to the natural mind, but Jesus affirms the choice that she makes. In the stillness of her heart, in the turmoil of all that's going on around her, in this moment of self-sacrificial, generous love. Amen. God bless you.